hamstring curl is a great lower body exercise for runners because we use our hamstrings kind of for two main purposes when we run. We use them concentrically and we use them eccentrically. So when we're using those hamstrings concentrically, we're using the hamstring to work with the glute to push yourself off and kind of drive yourself forward while you're running. This becomes even more important the steeper the hill that you're running up. Then we use our hamstrings eccentrically when our leg is coming out in front of us just before it hits the ground. So your leg is swinging forwards and you activate your hamstrings to slow that leg swing down. So the hamstrings slow the leg swing, then your foot hits the ground and you continue on with that next step. So our hamstrings are getting loaded in two different ways when we run. And by doing a hamstring curl, you're able to work on both those aspects of it. So when you're lifting your body up, you're working concentrically. That's that kind of first part of the push off while you're running. And then as you do that eccentric, lowering yourself back down from the hamstring curl, that's when you're kind of working on that second half of what you'll see while you're out there running. So by working on this strength, by getting comfortable in these ranges of motion and getting really comfortable controlling the use of those hamstrings, it's going to translate over into your running form and make you a little bit more of an injury-free runner. To set yourself up for a hamstring curl, all you're going to need is a mat on the floor and a big stability ball like this. They come in a range of different sizes. I find a medium one like this generally works the best. If you're a little bit taller, you can probably get away with a little bit larger ball. If you're a little bit shorter, you can maybe use a little bit smaller one. All you need to do for this one is you're going to lie yourself down on your back and put your kind of mid-calf up on top of the ball. So I'm going to set myself up here, lie myself down. I'm going to make sure I'm nice and centered. I've got my low back in contact, got my shoulders in contact. I'm going to set my head down so it's in contact as well. And then in terms of my positioning on the ball, I want to have kind of the middle of my calf be right on the kind of the part of the ball that I'm making contact with. If the ball's a little bit too close, I'm not going to have the right range of motion. And if I'm all the way out here, my feet are going to slide off the ball before I get all the way up. So ball is going to go mid-calf. From here, you can take your hands, put them out at just a little bit of an angle to add a little bit of support, and then you're ready to go. To do the hamstring curl, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up into a bridge. So I've got my shoulders and my head in contact with the ground, and then my feet in contact with the ball. So my hands here, I'm not pushing with them. They're just for support to keep me nice and stable. So I don't have a lot of weight there. I'm going to lift myself up, and this is going to be my starting position. In this position, I want to make sure that I have my glutes active, that my low back is nice and flat, and I've got this nice straight line all the way from my shoulder blades all the way down to my feet that are in contact with the ball. From here, all I'm working on is bringing my heels towards my butt and maintaining the rest of this straight line. So the only thing that should bend is going to be my knees. From here, I'm coming all the way up and then all the way back down. So you can see when I come up, I'm not just bringing my knees in this way. I'm actually driving up with my hips, maintaining that nice straight line all the way to my knees, and then my knees are where the bend happens. To adjust the difficulty of this exercise, you can first off use your body weight and use one leg or two legs, and then you can add a little bit of weight if you really want to. So to make things a little more difficult, so if I do two legs, half of the weight is getting lifted by each leg. The other thing that you can do is you can take one leg, you can lift it up, hold it, and maintain that position here. And then you're going to do the exact same thing. You'll come up and then come back down. So you're essentially doubling the amount of work that this leg needs to do that's working. If you want to add a little bit of extra weight, it's a little bit tricky, but you can take some weight, you can set it kind of right on top of your hips right here, and then you can still go through that range of motion. As you can see, it's a little bit more unstable, a little bit more difficult, but for most people, just doing that single leg is going to be the best way to go if you want to make things more difficult. If you find that this one is a little bit difficult for you, maybe you've had some hamstring problems in the past, or it's just a little bit too much for you, the best modification you can make is to start by just lifting yourself to here and just bringing your heels in and all the way out. So you're actually flexing at the hip as well. So it decreases the amount of work those hamstrings need to do by quite a bit. And then what you'd want to do is over time, make it a goal for yourself to progress this one until you can finally start to lift those hips. So what that would look like is starting, keeping your butt nice and low, just bringing the ball in. Then you would progress over time to lifting a little bit. And then finally, you'd be able to get all the way to keeping those hips nice and straight as you come up and down. There are a lot of different alternatives that you can do instead of using a stability ball. As long as you're working and isolating the hamstrings, working eccentrically and concentrically, it's gonna be a great substitution. So a hamstring curl machine at a gym, using a TRX to do some TRX hamstring curls, or even hooking your feet into something and doing some Russian hamstrings would also be a great option.